Today we're going to build a garden basket, and I'm going to use one fence picket. It's got some knots in it, but that's okay. If you can, try to get one without knots, but this is just one fence picket, and I think in my area, I think I paid, oh my goodness, it was under $3, between like $2.50 or something like that, probably not even that much. Anyhow, you'll need glue. And again, this is Type Bond 3. It's waterproof, interior, exterior use. And once this stuff cures, I don't think Mother Nature can take it apart. That's how strong this is. So, and I'm going to use brad nails, 3/4 inch brad nails, to hold it together. And again, the nails are just there to wait for the glue to dry. Some people screw them together. If you want to screw them together, you use 1-inch deck screws. And that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to start out doing is I'm going to start out sanding this. And I'm using 100 grit. And I'm not going to cut down the edges, and I'll explain why later. But unfortunately, I don't have a setup to where I can show you me cutting the pieces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sand and then go cut the pieces, and then I'll bring it back and tell you what the measurements are. So I'm going to put on my ear protection, which these have a radio on them. I love listening to the radio while I'm working. It keeps me motivated. So I'm going to put these on. I'm going to sand, and then I'm going to take it over there. And I'm using 100 grit. So if you don't want to watch this part, that's fine. Fast forward. All right. Okay, got that sanded. And you notice I kind of felt along with it. And it just, I like to feel how smooth it is once I get done sanding it. So that way too, if I need to go back over a spot, because you got some pieces of wood that just don't want to cooperate at all. So the whole thing feels nice. And I'm going to go over to my miter saw and cut this down. And I'll be back. Put my ear protection back on. Okay, I have two pieces right here that are 12 inches long. We're not done cutting on these yet, and I'll show you why. And I have three pieces right here that are 14 inches long. These right here are going to be ripped down into strips, into 3 strips. Not done with that. So on these 12-inch pieces, what you do, this is a combination square, and I love this. I have this little 6-inch one, and I have a 12-inch one. You definitely want to get these right here because they'll come in handy. Anyhow, before I do anything else, on all these pieces right here, I'm going to take them over to the table saw and just kind of rip down the edges a little bit. So I'm going to do that. I'll be right back, and I'm going to go ahead and cut these down to the strips that I need. Okay, now that I have the edges cut off of these two 12-inch pieces, what I'm going to do now is I think on this one right here, I've got to measure down 1 3/4. And I love this right here. So to use these right here, what you got to do is when you measure down somewhere, you got to make sure this part right here is flush on the very edge of it, and that'll give you an accurate reading. You got to make sure you get it set. And I'm going to mark both ends on both sides just to make sure that everything lines up. And I'm going to do this on both pieces. Whew. Sorry, today I got the sniffles, and I don't know why, but I do. The weather where I'm living right now has just been really crazy, and some days it feels like summer, not summer, but spring, and some days it's just feels like old man winter just won't go away. So, okay, now what I'm going to do is where I marked this down, I marked it right here as a 3/4 or 1 3/4. From here, I'm going to do a 40-degree cut on both sides, on both of them. So this section right here is going to be cut off. And I always put an X on where you're going to cut off, so that way you'll know, okay, this is the area that I'm getting rid of. I'm going to go do that, and I'll be right back. Okay, what I'm doing here is on these pieces right here, we're going to end up putting holes in there so we can put handles on there, and you'll see. And from right here, you want to measure 3 inches in on both sides. Go ahead and do that for both of them, both of the pieces. All right, now you want to measure 1 inch down. And see, around here, these garden baskets, everybody has gardens, have personal gardens. I live in a small town, and it's a farm country. Now, hold on. I'll show you another little trick. And okay, there it is. This is a screw right here. The top is stripped out, so it's really no good to use. So what I do with it is I find my point and I use it as like a little punch. Because when you go to drill into these, sometimes your drill bit wants to walk, depending on the material. So I always put like a little indentation, give it a little hole for the drill to start to sit in, and just let it do its thing, and that's it. So that's why I keep an old screw. It's just a little punch. That'll come in handy. And you want to use a 1/2 inch. You want these holes to be a 1/2 inch, but I'm not going to do that right now because I forgot to bring rope with me to put these in the holes. So I'm not going to drill the holes right now. Let me take these off. So what we're going to do now is I have my pieces cut. They're all 1 1/2 inch width, 14 by 1 1/2 by 5/8 thick. Now I did cheat a little bit because a couple of these, where the knots are, they look a little concerning. So I found another fence picket, and I cut 2 pieces off of that because I think I'll be able to use 2 of those 3 pieces. That piece right there, it's got a knot in it, and the crack goes all the way. But right now, what you can do is, if you're not able to cheat, so what you can do is go ahead and put some glue there, and best spreader in the world, and just kind of work it down into the cracks. And if you plan on painting this, it'll be fine. But if you're going to stain it, the stain doesn't adhere to this glue, and it'll just be a clear spot. But this is a garden basket, so I don't think we would need to paint it or stain it or paint it or anything like that, because me personally, I like the natural look. And if you want to go a little step further, what you can do is get a little bit of sawdust and just kind of work it in there a little bit. Now, with this being such a thin layer, we could probably go ahead and work with this, but just a little on the gentle side. Because with this glue not being not that much glue, we'll still be able to use it, and it'll still be able to dry. So it's like this piece right here kind of concerns me because that crack is so deep. But once this glue sets up, it ain't going nowhere. This one right here, I'm just going to put like a little bit in here because this is part of that same knot. This didn't go all the way through, but it's got like little holes in it. And I'm just going to do this to kind of And it's going to be sitting on, I'm going to make sure that this section right here is either facing down or on the bottom or something. So we can easily hide this edge right here, kind of. And this, anytime I come across a knot or something, depending on how severe the knot is or how bad it is, I'll do this right here, because I know once that glue cures, it ain't going nowhere. Here's another section. It's not that bad, but I'm going to go ahead and put some on it anyway. And sometimes, you know, you just tap it a little bit and get it worked in there. And there we have that one. We've got all three of these taken care of. These were all from the same section of the board. And that's why I say, try to pick material. If you're using construction grade lumber, which I am right now because I'm learning, I don't want to spend money on good quality, high dollar exotic woods or anything like that, because there's some projects that I want to make. But this right here is for, you know, it's a garden basket. You take it outside and it's going to get roughed up anyway and dropped and all that. So it's not that big of a deal. So I have this little box down here I made just for this. Because unfortunately right now I don't have a proper desk collection. So these are my two cheat pieces. I'm going to set them to the side. Now what we're going to do now is, some people, like I said at the beginning of the video, like to screw these on. I'm just going to brad nail them. And what you do is you want to make sure that these are flush on both ends right here. And then use the glue and a brad nail and you'll be good to go. So right now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a little glue on the ends. And I'm not going to set this on that end until I get ready to do it, so I can make sure it's flush. Whoop. If I can hold on to it now. And there. That side is done. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this end. Make sure it's flush. And voila. Now, I'm going to gently flip this around. I'm going to take another piece, put a little glue on the ends. You don't really need a whole lot, but if you get squeezed out, that's all right. That just means you got plenty on there. Again, just make sure it's completely flush. I have a electrical strip right here on the side of my table, so I have to kind of move it down. No. All right. Now, you should be looking like this right here. What I like to do is I like to go ahead, and you know what, I'm just going to go ahead and use these cheap pieces. So I like to go ahead and do up here next, because that way it'll help square it on up. Because sometimes with these fence pickets, they have a little bit of bow in them, or cup, or something, and you kind of have to, I'm not going to say fight with it or anything, but sometimes you have to get a little mean with it to get it to work. And just make sure it's flush. Oop. Make sure it's flush right on this edge and on this edge right here. And these four right here alone will help strengthen this frame up, or this back. And that's that piece. Flip it around. Put glue. And this side right here shouldn't be that much of a fight. And it should be nice and flush and clean on both sides. Voila. And then you have this part. And if you get a little squeeze out, that's fine. Now, we can do the sides here, and I just kind of eyeball it when I do it, when I make these. And again, it doesn't have to be real pretty or nothing. And I get my pencil and I mark it, so that way when I go to glue it and nail it, here, I'll just do this one first, and then I'll mark the other one and get it put in place. Oh! What was that about? Ah, I hit a knot. That's what that was. Imagine that on this. So, yeah, I'm not even gonna. There. That looks good to me. I mean, again, this is a garden basket. Doesn't have to be pretty. And go ahead and use this one. So those two pieces that I'm not going to be using, save them for another project, or if you want to build another one of these. Because by the time you do that, let them sit to the side and cure, they'll be good to go. Oh, this thing. Put one here. That looks good right there. A lot of these, it's like this garden basket. It's kind of rustic looking. And I know building standards way back when versus building standards today. And now you got this right here, and we got one more piece to put right here. And again, just kind of eyeball it. Surprised I didn't run out of nails. Well, here you go. Here is your garden basket. And again, on the ends, I measured from right here, 3 inches in and 1 inch down. So that way if you want to drill holes and use some rope for a handle, or you can get some other types of handles, or just leave it like this and set it on the counter and put your fresh vegetables and stuff in there that you're going to be using. I mean, this is just, you know, really cute, quick, rustic little garden basket. So there you go. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I do ask, please like and subscribe, hit the like button, and I hope I get to see you guys again. So have a good day. See you later.